What's up, Tiger? You are a married man, right? Yes, I am. And you have seen other women, right? Oh, give me a break. I'm just living in a double marital status. Madam Toastmaster, fellow guests, fellow Toastmaster and welcome guests. You may be wondering what I mean by living in a double marital status. I will explain what I call living in a double marital status and give you some suggestions how to cope with it based on my personal experience. However, I will not discuss infidelity. Many of you have completed a form where they ask you for your marital status. Usually there are 4 common categories to choose from: married, divorced, widow or widower, and single. A person who uses or lives in a double marital status is when someone is using 2 of these categories at the same time. Many people live in a double marital status for various reasons: for income tax purposes, and for what I call circumstantial purposes, which can be employment, military reason, and people who leave their country for a better life. First, people live in a double marital status for income tax purposes. For example, Mary, she was married to John for 5 years. Her husband died in February last year, in 2009. In June, she started dating Bob, and in November, she moved in with him. However, this year, when she filed her income tax return for 2009, her filing status was married. Technically, Mary is not married because she's living with a man whom she's not married to. She can also file her tax return for the next 2 years as a widow, as long as she doesn't remarried and meets some other criteria. Consequently, Mary living in a double marital status. She's living a single life and filed her income tax return as married or widow. How many of you during the recession have lost your job or know someone who have lost their job? Many people leave their family to go to another place in search of a better job. I am one of them, these people. In March 2009, I lost my job, and I have to leave my family behind in Oklahoma to come to Atlanta to accept a temporary position. Therefore, since then, I've been living in a double marital status. For example, when I go out eating, I have a table by myself, which makes me feel and look like a fool. The last time I check, when I go to bed, I only see one body on my bed. So living in a double marital status can be challenging. For example, sometimes I feel lonely and bored. I feel guilty when my son, 5-year-old son, calls me, "Daddy, I miss you. I want to be with you." Or when my wife was sick and I was not there to care for her. However, one can make the best out of the situation by doing the following. One is to use your time wisely. I took a tax preparation course with H&R Block and worked part-time preparing taxes. I also joined Dawnbreakers and get involved in many other activities to keep me busy and also out of trouble. Second is to stay connected. I remain in touch with my family. In fact, I serve as my wife's alarm clock. I wake her up every morning and talk to my family at least twice daily. Third is to have a plan. My wife and I implement a plan about when we're going to see each other and when we're going to actually move together as a family again. As you may see, living in a double marital status is more common than you may think. A lot of people leave their country to come to the United States for study, for political reason, for safety, and most importantly, for a better living condition. Many men and women in the military leave their family behind to serve in foreign countries or war zones. The recession causes a lot of people to leave their family behind and go to other places in search of employment. Living in this situation can be very difficult. However, if they do the following, they can vivify the situation. One is to stay connected with your family, use your time wisely, and have a plan to reconnect with your family as soon as possible. It's a temporary situation. Focus on the big picture. Madam Toastmaster.